What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and today I'm going to be summoning on the Young Nor banner. So here we have got Young Camilla, who is an insane unit, and if this is the lore accurate Camilla who's so strong, okay, I'm going to get her retainer, then I could only imagine Ryoma in his young version. God, he is going to be insane, absolutely, if he ever comes out. So Camilla is extremely good unit and honestly pretty scary with Legendary Sakura because she can just hit and run like anything, and her warping is so overtuned. When I was reading the description of her preferred skill, I was really surprised that she could have that kind of warping with Divine Veins. So here I'm gonna get Elise. So I'm gonna be foddering her for her skill, attack speed tidings to my Mercedes. So this is finally Dazzling Staff, which is pretty good compared to the Sway skill if you do not have it. And it does open up the option of, using some other skills depending on the combination. So sometimes you do need the Dazzling Staff and you need, some other slot B skill. So if you do not have the Sway skill, then it's good to have. And I think I'll just, have that skill on her in case I need it, because Elise is a 4-star focus, so it's not the worst. And I really hope that they do release a second Arcane staff at this rate, because I do not have a lot of Hortensias, so I wasn't really able to duplicate a lot of the fodder for the healers in the recent times, which is a bit sad. So sometimes if you wait too much for the attuned or the rearmed unit, then you may lose your window of the best time to use that skill, or the fun you could have with that skill on your favorite. So like Ice Lock is so good. Okay, I'm gonna get Mozu. That's good. So 10 summons, already got Elise, and I think I'll definitely try for Elise again, because even though I did get one copy, I do need another one to use her. Hopefully with good IVs with plus speed. Leo is gonna be functioning like the Adzi in a way. I do like Leo and his extraction with the assist. That kind of thing is always gonna be aging well, because that kind of action... Oh, Leo heard me. So I do like Leo quite a lot, probably the most out of all of the Norian royals. Plus speed, okay, on a unit with AoE specials mainly, but that's fine, at least it's not Mind's attack. I do like Leo a lot, and I liked him right from the start, mainly for his design, and also Fates did release in Japanese first back in those days. So Mom Romiano voiced him. So I was like, oh my god, this is like Yagami. This is Okabe Rintaro voicing Leo. So always really liked Leo, and I think that his cutscene was also pretty nice. It's also a bit sad, King Leo, the version at the end. One of my favorite artworks is of Rika Suzuki drawing Leo. That artwork is so good. I'm already such a big fan of Rika Suzuki, and King Leo, it's just so sad. I'm gonna get Leo and his forest here, minus attack. Honestly, I was thinking that maybe Forest and Elise could get some kind of dual version, because Elise is definitely quite appreciative towards Forest. So, would be nice. And I would also like to see some kind of young banner. I've always wondered, we get these units with their weapons that they master after growing up. So, it does make sense to, I guess, have the same weapon type when we get the young version of them. But I would like some kind of, weapon change. Like they started to train in maybe sword or lance, and then they realized that their real potential is an axe, for example. So that kind of switch would be pretty nice on a young banner. Like I would have liked that kind of thing on this banner. because Camilla's pose is kind of reminiscent of the original Camilla, the way her stance is. I'm gonna get Foresight here. All right. The dude did get a really good weapon refine, so I'm quite happy. And it's unique because of the Divine Vein. Minus speed, okay, I'm just gonna be merging him. So let us begin with the questions that you guys have left. As always, if you want me to answer any kind of question in a summoning video, you could leave them in the comments with the hashtag question. So the first question is by Bulbasaur617, and they're asking me if you can choose an FE character to be your sibling, who would it be and why? Really interesting question for this young banner, perfect. And this was a recent comment, so I figured I would make this the question of the day. Let me know in the comments, who would you like it to be your sibling? Imagine the different childhood you could have because of having a Fire Emblem character as a sibling. It's a really interesting thought experiment, especially for me because I'm the only child of my parents, so I've always been alone. So I didn't really have a sibling growing up, so had to figure out a lot of things just on my own. There wasn't really anyone to help me, or someone who could tell me about the things of the recent times. You could always ask the people around you, but either they're gonna be going through the same things as you, or they have gone through it a really long time ago, and now those things are not really all that important to me because life throws different things at you. So their experience is a bit of the older times when things were a bit different. So I think I've actually thought about this quite a lot, and one of the main reasons why I really liked Hector as a kid was that I always thought it would be so good to have that kind of big brother. So reliable. He just shows up for Elude. It doesn't matter that Armads is gonna be resulting in the death of Fizz on a battlefield. He does not care. He's just committed. So okay, Oswin showing up, he does appreciate the words towards his liege. So always wanted Hector as a sibling. But if I had to take the recent Fire Emblem games into consideration, I think Chrom is like one of the best siblings ever. Like, he is so protective. I think that's amazing. He is also, kind of not that into, completely like combat, I guess. Not a complete meathead, I guess you want to say. Like some of the other characters. Like, he is really strong, of course, but still, he is extremely mature. So I think I really appreciate that. So having him again as a big brother would be amazing. So probably Hector, and then Chrom would be my top two picks. I mean, don't get me wrong, Hector is a meathead. I mean, I'm literally comparing him with Chrom, but still, that is nice. Okay, Elise does agree with that. She's gonna be showing up here with minus defense. She's just so adorable. I love her conversation with young Alyssa in the Tempest Trial again. It's so amazing because they do have a conversation in Warriors, a support conversation, and I just love the first Warriors game for the interactions that it gave us between these Fire Emblem characters. It's just, everything I wanted in a crossover with this kind of interaction. Fully voiced support is just so good. And it's amazing that they are referencing that in a way in Tempest Trial, because Elise and Alyssa basically say that even if they lose their memory after returning to their real world, they're still gonna be, meeting each other in future. So it's just weird that it's just in the past, not in the future. So is this amazing? I mean, technically we haven't got that Tempest Trial dialogue because that is in the ending. So we're going to be seeing it when the Tempest Trial ends, but it's in the data of the game. So here we have 4-star Elise, minus attack. Already got enough copy to just fodder her. So here I'm going to be sparking Camilla for sure. I also really like Xander's artwork. In his young version, there's just the aura of smugness that he has got. That is just so fun. So I'm gonna get Camilla here. I'm mainly missing Corrin here, so I think Corrin is gonna be showing up as I've got all of his siblings. It's interesting because usually male Corrin is associated with Hoshido, and here he is there with the Norian siblings, and he is the lead unit. I would have thought maybe female Corrin would be the lead unit when it comes to Nor, but I do like the switch up for sure. It's a nice what if, honestly. So I do have blue stones here, so I'm just gonna be trying on that for the one copy of Corrin. That would be nice. Corrin's weapon is just so lengthy, but it doesn't have the best effects in the weapon. The special is decent, but still, I wouldn't say it's, gonna be insane in a way. Brave Scowl is nice, but there are some other things that you kind of need. The AoE damage reduction is good, I guess, with the special, and it's unpierceable as well. But it's just that it sets up the water terrain after the combat. But it's like, it's kind of nice because even if the enemy sets up their terrain, if you survive, of course, if you are going to be replacing that with the water terrain, in that same phase after the combat. So that's really, really good and kind of unique. It's just that you need to survive, so that's the hard part, but there are definitely a lot of tank supports. Still, it's an uphill battle as a Far Savior because you're going to be facing a lot of really, really fast units. Denying them is going to be helpful with your speed, but you are going to be needing edge scales. I would have loved that on Corrin, honestly. And as a near savior, like, you need to have a bit of the raw bulk because Camilla just hits so hard. So that's why I kind of like Deflect Melee now on near saviors like Duo Rhea, because I was really pondering over this. Hardy Bearing needs to be on the Far Savior to not get nuked by Emblem Lint and Desperation nukes that are right there with her, maybe with her ring. And for the near savior, of course, Hardy Bearing would help against Trample of Young Camilla, but you can only have one Hardy Bearing. So Deflect Melee also gives you decent results, and that's one of the reasons why you see Deflect Missile on Far Saviors. But of course, there is the chance where you could face magical units where Deflect Missile does nothing. But with the Deflect Melee, with the near saves, it does help against the threats that we've got, like Young Camilla, for example, and also Emblem Erica now. Alright, I'm gonna be getting Carla, plus HP. I did support her with Bartray, of course. That's one of the things that I love to do with the canon pairings. Just, like to support them with either Lost Lore, which is pretty good to grind the supports with, or with Hero's Journey, but usually I just use the Summoner and one of my favorite units most of the time. Alright, so here I could try and maybe go for another Camilla. Having Trample would be nice. It's such a good skill. And I've always wanted that kind of skill in Fae. But I was not sure if they would make it as a preferred skill or not, because it was a class exclusive skill, not exactly a character exclusive. So that makes sense. So the next question is by FireMage4355, and they're asking me, hey PM1, great informative videos, summoning, and guides. It does help me and my friends out, simplifying a lot of text and effects. Thank you so much. I do spend an unhealthy amount of time on that, trying to optimize it. So it's really, really, rewarding to hear that it does help. Because sometimes I feel like, am I oversimplifying or not simplifying it enough? That's a dilemma I have. So it's really good to know what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right. And they're asking me, who is the favorite FE character you're most surprised doesn't have an alt very few alts or doesn't have a base version in the game yet. Which character are you surprised has so many alts in FEH? Really good question. I often think about this because it's kind of different how we think as players and as consumers and how the developers think. So that's, one of the dilemmas I have many times because I have the bias of making videos. So I'm not sure how it's on the consumption side. So that's why comments really help, knowing that kind of feedback, because I feel like it helps you stay connected with the ground and the actual reality, because the developers of Fire Emblem or the current developers of FEH were surprised with the results of Choose Your Legends when we had that, because a lot of them did think that Marth was more popular than Ike. But I mean, of course, Ike, in my opinion, is kind of like the one of the modern faces of Fire Emblem, along with Lucina and Edelgard, I would like to think. I'm gonna get Dorothea. So I did win the first Choose Your Legends, and Marth did take a few more Choose Your Legends. I think it was more of the fault of them separating the votes. I would like to think, because Marth is extremely popular because of being in Smash, and he is the character a lot of people started to main from Melee. He was just so good. Even in Brawl, he was amazing. And then we saw a lot of players play him in Smash 4. Ultimate, unfortunately, doesn't really see much of the usage of Marth. I usually saw Lucina. I'm not following it that closely anymore. But yeah, Ike was just so popular, and that's good to see, because I felt like Telio's games came at such an unfortunate time. They were really ahead of the time in many of the aspects, like the storytelling and the characters that they had. So I was a bit sad that I saw the GameCube version be playable. I mean, not that, but I was thinking that maybe a remake would be nice of Path of Radiance. But basically, if they are giving that in the, in the Switch, then it probably doesn't have many chances of being remade right now. Like, I want to see FE4 remake, but I wouldn't really mind like some kind of out of turn remake, because it just keeps things exciting, and not predictable in a way. So wouldn't exactly mind that too much. But I hope someday it does get a remake. Would be nice to have the voice acting, all of the modern, graphics with it. Alright, so blue stones are not showing up too much. I do have my scam bubbles charged up to 2, so hopefully I can summon on that. If the final off focus unit decides to show up here, because that's going to be ensuring that I get Corrin. Oh, I'm going to Fallen Corrin, Fallen Male Corrin. Wow. Okay. Yeah, he does need the Feldstone, but Refine is decent. I mean, it's not the most insane. Plus Speed Ivy. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to win in the Holoforms patch. I was kind of looking forward to it, building him up with the premium skills and his Refine. And that would have been the chance of building a Brave Camilla as well. I am pretty close to, plus and merging her, and getting all of the modern healer skills would be really nice, because like I said, I didn't really have a lot of chances of duplicating the fodder, with Hortensia. So it would be nice to get them in the Holoforms with the Ice Lock, because we don't really get too many healers in Holoforms, because many years ago they just stopped giving the Holoforms healers that didn't have a preferred weapon. So the preferred weapon healers are far and few between, I feel like. I mean, many of them do happen, but still, those healer skills are kind of like the Infinity Stones. They're just scattered on so many units. Like Legendary Sakura has that, the Sloppy skill, Ice Lock, and then now we have got Elise here. I mean, it's rather easy to get comparatively, compared to the Sway skill, but it does come with Legendary Sakura, so if you have that level of fodder, then it does help. They completely just change live to serve. Seth showing up. I did get Camilla as well. I'm also looking for a Camilla in Binding Worlds because I feel like that's gonna be a good use of the otherworldly bond because she requires so many dragon flowers and a lot of modern skills, attune skill, an arcane weapon. So if you're a Camilla fan or if you want to update your Pleasant Camilla, like I've been trying to do, then that's gonna be something you can look out for because we're gonna be getting a Binding Worlds in April in a couple of days. So I really hope that the Celestial Stone Shop updates and gives us otherworldly bond finally, because I don't think it's gonna be hurting any kind of bottom line in a way, because people are just gonna be getting their favorites. And I saw so much enthusiasm when we got the free otherworldly bond among free-to-play players that they could finally get a fully built unit in the Binding Worlds. So that was really amazing. A lot of people did start and come back to FEH and started to play again. So when it comes to the FE character, which I'm really surprised to not get that many alts, is probably Corrin. I definitely got sidetracked right there. I recently did plus and merge my female Morgan, so I would like to see Corrin. I'm kind of surprised because he could have been made into such an insane unit, honestly. An actual demon, literally. So a bit surprised, and it leads to the second question that was asked, which character I think I'm surprised that got so many alts, and my answer is Carla. Because Carla was not really popular back then. She was hard to recruit. She didn't really pay off if you recruited her. So it's a bit surprising. And Ursula also surprised me because I feel like from what I saw, I didn't really see her being that popular compared to Jafar, Lloyd, Linus back in those days. But FEH, as I said, I was kind of wanting to talk about this as what we perceive as popular and what the developers think. So it was my main point with Ursula and Carla that were in a way given alts in FEH. But in the mainline games back then, it didn't really feel like that to me. And even in Choose Your Legends, I'm not sure if they really got that many votes compared to the other characters that were perceived to have more value. Now, of course, this could be a correlation because in a way, when a character gets a lot of alts, people do lose a bit of steam when voting for that character. We have seen this time and time again. So maybe because those characters got those alts, in a way, they do not get that many votes. So it kind of, tells us that they're not as popular, but in a way that's because of the result of the alts that they've gotten. So that's a, something that I cannot really prove what came first. You could, try and see the results of the earlier Choose Your Legends, but because the voting and the amount of votes doesn't remain the same, it's kind of hard to gauge because back then the rules were different. You could just vote even if you didn't play FEH. And it was pretty lax. And after they had the rules, the votes did drop quite a bit. So again, the metrics do change. You would have to weigh them against the active players to really measure, I suppose, with that kind of data. It would take a lot of work for sure. And I do think that they might have done that kind of analysis. I'm not sure. Because they are, collecting that kind of data with so many Choose Your Legends. Alright. I'm still not getting the final off-focus unit. Not getting the extra Camilla or Leo. Another detect skill wouldn't really be bad. I think I've got enough Elise by getting lucky here, I feel like, at this point. So I don't really mind if I... Okay, No bluestone here. So I don't really mind, I guess, just trying to go forward with sniping. Merlin is showing up, yeah. At least he has got good fodder. 33 orbs. I think Corrin could show up if I get decent luck with the bluestones or with the off-focus unit. 4-star special raid units do not really do that, so you need to get the off-focus units basically, and that's not happening. It did happen in quick succession, but now I'm just waiting a bit. So those were basically my thoughts. I did ponder over that too much, but I guess it's probably not my place to think about because, you know, I don't make this game, so, but it's still like interesting thought experiment just as a player. 2 bluestones. But yeah, there's always going to be, you know, disconnect between the, you know, the perceived popular characters, even in certain places of community that we have. If you go on a different social media platform, it's going to be different. Like the demographics just change. So that's also like, it's so hard to, you know, narrow it down conclusively. Like it doesn't represent everyone. So that's, you know, one of the things that's a challenge. So I guess I'll try on the free summons here. I mean, I already have plus 10 Camilla merged up. I guess I could get Corrin. I was mainly using Camilla as my Tempest Trial unit. So now I'm just going to be upgrading that to Young Camilla, who's just going to be taking out everyone. She is the ultimate glass cannon. Either you're going to be certainly taking her out, or she's absolutely going to be demolishing the unit that she's going to be attacking. There's just no chance of survival with the true damage that she's got, the level of true damage, the potent hit, the desperation, the Emblem Erica ring. There's so many things going on for her. It would be nice to get attuned to Erica, as I'll be able to just use her fodder. Her echo skill is still so good, but no greenstone here, so I guess I'll try for Amelia. You know, that's one of the reasons why I still do the voting on my community tab, because I'm just so fascinated by the data. You know, how can you not be? I guess I'm hardwired in a way, and you know, kind of incentivized as a way because of doing YouTube for such a long time. Like, you cannot exist without, you know, acknowledging the data in a way. If you do it too much, of course, it's gonna be unhealthy for you. If you know, put too much stock into that, and if you measure and try and optimize every single thing. So that's why I mainly try and limit that to, you know, the easiest thing, you know, I could try and measure. And in a way, you don't have to try and optimize it too much, because, you know, sometimes we think things are in our control, but they're not, even if you have the data. So that's why it's always interesting to see a lot of people, you know, completely pick yes with the voting on a banner if they are going to be summoning or not, because usually those kinds of banners are going to be choose your legends or a legendary mythic banner. Usually, I guess nowadays not so much, because emblem heroes just have so much value compared to that, but they are probably not going to be telling us that anymore with the calendar change that they've done. So it's going to be either one of the legendary, mythic, and emblem hero banners, because the odds are just stacked against mythic and legendary units in a way. There's just no hope of competing against emblem heroes and their values, at least right now. Like, we do have 6 rings, but still, they all are so useful. And especially for the players that are just playing casually or are returning, it just helps them have more fun with their characters, because it opens up a lot of things, strategies. Even if you do not have certain support units, like if you don't have Desert Marissa, still having Emblem Erica does mean that you can just have that kind of brave effect on any kind of melee unit. And I think that Fallen Dimitri is definitely one of those units, because he was run with Ninja Naginata Plus, or you know, just ninja weapons in a way. And having that kind of brave effect is just so good. Now he does have, Brutal Tempest and everything else, which pretty much means that you don't need to use his preferred slot D skill because it's just an obstacle, because you're not going to be able to use an attune skill, and infantry units have no shortage of good attune skills at this point. So Fallen Dimitri's Weapon Refine is going to be interesting because for some... Okay, another Foresight in the same session, because for some reason they also made it so that Fallen Dimitri could not appear as random enemy in the training tower along with Fallen Edelgard and Surtur. Clearly, he was not on the level of Fallen Edelgard or Surtur even at their peak. So that's the summons from my main account, and now let's go on to my free-to-play account. On the free-to-play account, I do have 64 orbs. It's not really much, because I did spend a lot on the Heroes banner, on the Emblem Hero banner, of course. I had the cooperation of Emblem Erica in a way, so I'm really grateful for that. Thankfully, she didn't pull off a legendary Celica, not legendary, Emblem Celica. That's why Celica is pissed off, because I called her Emblem version, legendary version. But yeah, I'm really glad. Emblem Marth gave me the least amount of trouble. He took me 113 orbs to be summoned with his first copy. So that was exceptionally good. And then Emblem Lyn, now Emblem Erica. So those are my 3 best friends, basically, when it comes to the Emblem heroes. And then I guess Sigurd and Ike. Sigurd did help afterwards because he did show up quite a bit in my Emblem Erica summoning session. And Ike didn't really show up much, but still, I mean, it's not as bad as Emblem Eric, not Emblem Erica, Emblem Celica. Wow, okay. Celica's gonna be even more pissed now. I'm making those kinds of mistakes. Bowie showing up. Alright. Hopefully he also gets an alt or Resplendent at the very least this year. I do think that he's probably going to be showing up in the next Spring banner. Okay, Spring Chrom showing up. I did say, he is one of the perfect siblings. Alright. I'm going to try for attuned Erica. I mainly used her Gust and Null Counter Disrupt Echo on my attuned Sita, because attuned Sita is still pretty nice with the flat damage reduction that she's got. And the fact that she's got effective damage and the things that she's got for the stat stacking is just so good. So I felt like using her more, and then I just gave all of those skills to my Panette. Right, I'll try for Ford, I guess. He does hit decently hard. I will hope that if I don't get attuned Erica, then that luck transfers to getting Young Camilla. But still, if I do not get her, it's fine. I, already got lucky with Emblem Erica with the unit that didn't matter a lot with the Emblem Ring. So it's fine. I certainly do not mind if Lady Luck for my free-to-play account does not decide to show up here. Not the biggest deal. Alright, attuned Erica, are you going to be showing up here? And nope. Atlas, that's fine. Yeah, okay. I did make use of her for attuned Sita's inheritance. I guess I'll try for Corrin. On the free-to-play account, I've been mainly using Corrin as the bonus unit. Chrom again, okay. Let's go. Hector did not show up though. Here, yeah, I really want to get Camilla, but no Greenstone, unfortunately, so I could try for Elise. Getting her would be nice. If I get lucky, nope. Not lucky. I did get Saizo. Wrong banner, Saizo. Legendary Sakura's banner already passed. This is Norian banner, my friend. Leo would be nice, but still. I guess I could try for Elise, and there's also Young Camilla. Okay, no Greenstone again. Yeah, even though a unit is 4-star, it does not technically mean that you're gonna be getting them on the first summon if you do not get lucky, basically. So luck is still a big factor despite them being a 4-star focus. I think if anyone has tried to Plaster Merge a 4-star focus, they do know the pains of that if they end up on the other side, basically. So okay, I'm gonna get Uther. Getting Young Camilla would be nice. This month, we should be having a Mythic unit, a Raid Mythic unit, basically, for the Astra or Dark season, I think. Wow, okay. Plenty of chances to get Elise. 2 Elise, please. Oh, I'm gonna get my first Elise. Let's go. I could fodder her. Is she... Okay, minus speed. Another Elise, please. Just give me another Elise. She's still so good on her own with the support. Treachery is still pretty decent, despite all of the dull and lull effect. Not all that insane, so I guess that's why they... Yes, let's go to Elise. That's all I wanted. At least I got that. Okay, that's completely fine. And now if I could get Young Camilla, okay, yeah, that's a bit greedy. Yeah, I'm not gonna be getting Young Camilla. I should just be satisfied here. So that's gonna be the final summon. I got 2 Elise, so that is amazing, as I also get to fodder her now. So that's really, really good. And yeah, I did fodder off my attuned Erika's fodder, and now I do have Sida here with all of the skills here that's needed for the tanking with this build right there. Gust. And now I have also upgraded my Panette on the arena team, basically, with this kind of build with Ruse. I mean, I didn't really have Speed Taker or Brutal Tempest, which is going to be the perfect skill right now for her B and C. And depending on the team, I use Celica Ring or Emblem Ring. So pretty happy with the results. So let me know in the comments how your summons went, and you can also click the link on the screen right now to check out my breakdown of this Young Nor banner. And make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as your near saviors against Young Camilla and her powers. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.